Hi everyone. Something a little bit different today, and something that I really want to engage with you on and get your views because this is, to me, a really interesting topic. So stay with me. I want to discuss in this video the advantages and disadvantages of the government proposal to delay by 6 months the period that it takes between taking a theory test and taking your practical driving test. And I've been thinking about the advantages and disadvantages of this. So I'd just like to discuss my views and then hopefully get some comments down below about your views on this. So let me go through the advantages that I can think first. So really what we're looking at in that 6-month period, my view, is to gain as much experience and confidence as we can. So the more time you're allowed to learn, that will allow you to get more confidence in different types of conditions. So I think most people these days, when they have a driving lesson with a driving instructor, it lasts for an hour. Depending on the traffic, you will encounter different road conditions, but I think there is probably a lack of experience from that particular thing of driving in bad weather conditions, so fog, rain, maybe ice and snow. Certainly driving at night time, because most driving instructors, I think, don't actually work of a night time. Yep, comment if I'm wrong. And also driving on motorways. Now, obviously, if you're with a driving instructor who's got dual controls, you're allowed to actually go onto a motorway. So I think that is a really big benefit because, most of the time you're going to come across motorway driving once you've passed your test, and you need to have some lessons in that and gain confidence in that. It's a different way of driving. Now, evidence from other countries apparently shows that this extended period of time to gain that confidence eventually reduces the occurrence of accidents. That's what the stats show. So maybe it is the case. Hopefully it's the case. But, what we really need to do, and me as an advanced driving instructor, that's one of the things I'm trying to do, is road safety. I want to reduce the accidents on the roads, so it can only be a good thing. I think the other thing for that 6-month period is that you then encourage learner drivers to have a more structured approach to their learning. Because you're on the road for longer in that 6-month period, you can actually, and like I say, driving at night time on the motorways in bad weather conditions that you might not experience in a set number of lessons, that will give you a structured learning pattern, which can only be a good thing, I think. It also, I know that people, certainly when my daughter was learning to drive, we bought her a package of lessons. And that, to a certain extent, can imply some pressure to actually learn within that period. And so I think the 6-month period would certainly reduce that pressure. So overall, I think you get more real-world experience, you get more confidence. So when you actually come to your test, in theory, you should be less nervous. But everything that comes with an advantage generally has a disadvantage. And I was thinking through this, and I think, obviously, the more lessons you have, the more expensive it's going to be. And, most tests are taken by younger people, 17 to 24 years old, I think, is the main sort of area. And at that age, you generally haven't got very much of an income. So, and parents may be paying for lessons. So there is definitely going to be a financial impact to maintaining your driving over that 6-month period. From the person that's learning to drive, of course, it delays your independence, because no more passing your test on your 17th birthday. You're going to have to be 17 and a half at least before you get your freedom to sit in the driving seat and transport yourself around on your own. And consequently, that may have implications on your work. Because if you're out there working, how do you get backwards and forwards to work without someone taking you or using public transport? So it's going to have an impact on those logistical challenges, as we call them, sort of getting to and for backwards and forwards from work. And when I'm thinking about this, I still think there is the potential for the abuse that we've seen with booking lessons. I don't think that's going to go away. I think we're still going to have a big backlog of time between taking your theory test and taking your practical test. I think this is just sort of masking that to a certain extent, in that you can't take your test for 6 months. Well, what you're going to do is, as soon as you've passed your theory test, you're going to book your practical test 6 months later, if you can, if they will allow that. So obviously, they're going to have to think through about how that's going to be done. So I think that's my summary, thinking about it. I suppose overall I'm in favour of it to a certain extent. Certainly getting more experience, certainly nighttime driving, motorway driving, bad weather driving. I think that would be of great benefit. So overall, I think it's a positive thing. But what do you think? Comments below, please, and I will try and answer as many as I can. In the next video, I want to talk about something else along these same lines, which is the graduated driving licence that's used in a number of countries. So I hope you'll join me for that one.